Castles come in many shapes and sizes. Some were very large and grand for the kings of the land. Others were built for defending the countryside. Still others were simply grand homes on large estates of rich noblemen. Ireland has over 475 known castles. Today we are going to look at life in and around Bunratty Castle in County Clare, Ireland. It is not easy to get into a castle. Castles were built for defence. A person could only come in with permission from the guards. Large doors could be opened in the outside castle wall whenever the army needed to quickly move soldiers in and out for wagons or for livestock. These large doors could be closed if an enemy approached. Tight, spiralling staircases moving clockwise, narrow doors and tall windows with wedge-shaped slits helped limit an enemy's entrance. Anyone first entering that castle was met by soldiers in the Great Hall, another line of castle defence. Right off the Great Hall was the weapons room. It was filled with armour, swords and shields, bows and arrows, crossbows and other weapons. Fireplaces, whitewashed walls, ornately carved furniture and large tapestries helped make castles beautiful and more comfortable. The beautiful, heavily embroidered and beaded dress lying across the bed showed the wealth and high position of the noblewoman. Castle keeps were filled with treasures of art and jewels along with gold and silver. The one very warm place in the castle was the kitchen. Turtle shells were used as both bowls and lids. The garbage chute allowed unused scraps of food to be dumped into the water surrounding the castle, where it fed the fish before the tide helped sweep it away. Each castle had its own chapel and live-in priest. This was the private chapel for the Earl's family. Getting to the top of the castle was not easy. Everyone had to walk single file up many, many stairs. At the top, the roofs of the castle buildings were clearly visible. Most importantly, the view of the surrounding countryside was unobstructed. It was hard for an enemy to approach a castle unnoticed. Building a castle took a very long time. The workers lived in the village that formed around the castle. There were a lot of stones in Ireland. Most buildings and fences were made of stone. Roofs were made of slate or thatch. Thatch had to be added every year. Slate lasted for centuries. The richer the villager, the bigger and more elaborate was his house. A home's interior changed based on the wealth and social standing of the owner. Poor people had very simple houses. Rich people had more refined houses. When a village first formed, the villagers ate fish and game they caught. After they became settled, people raised livestock for food and clothing. The Irish also grew crops to feed their families and animals. The blacksmith made ploughs and scythes to work larger fields. At first, oxen were used to plough the land. Once draft horses were brought to Ireland, they replaced the oxen as work animals. Grains were an important crop for both people and animals. Once harvested and dried, grain was stored off the ground and in barns, and cats patrolled the area to prevent mice from eating that grain. Water was an abundant resource in Ireland. People harnessed water to create an energy source before electricity. Not everyone who lived in the village worked on building the castle, nor did everyone become a farmer. Some people had special skills. They provided services and products to the village people. Every village had a chapel in addition to the one in the castle. The priest provided spiritual support and guidance to his parish. Outside the castle walls and beyond the village, the world was a wilder place. Mostly covered with forest, it could be a place of danger. It was also a rich resource of game for food and plants for medicines. Even large castles built of stone do not last forever. Over time, the stones are worn down by rain and wind. Seeds fall into the crevices and begin to take root. Unattended castles begin to disintegrate. What was once a mighty tower with many chambers, today may be in complete ruins. Sometimes only one wall is left standing. The ground under the castle can erode. The foundations can no longer support the tall, heavy building. Vegetation covers the crumbling walls, and what was once a mighty fortress is now a green mound of grass and shamrocks. But not all ancient castles are in ruins. There are still many wonderful castles in Ireland. Bunratty Castle is one of many you can visit today. You can still sit down to an Irish banquet, sample an Irish feast, and hear the Irish music. Castle life is still alive.